I'm happy to announce that I'm going to be doing my very first Legion Q&A on my Twitch channel this Saturday, August 27th at 10:30 CST. I will be answering your questions live on Discord, so be sure to download Discord by clicking the link in the description and then join my channel, and I'll see you guys there. Look, I'm really not much of a Hunter player. I think like out of all the range classes that are in the game, I probably played Hunter the least. However, I have played Marksman for the last couple days, and I think that this class in particular, this spec, is really, really fun. And I want to talk about it because I think that if you are a Hunter player and you haven't tried it out because maybe you're trying BM since BM is really strong right now, or you've been trying Survival since that's more the melee new hype or whatever, I think that Marksman is largely overlooked, and I think that people are, the higher rated players are at least now just starting to find out that Marksman's pretty good. I think that this class offers a playstyle that isn't so complex with the pet control that BM requires, and then the melee and all the traps and whatnot from Survival. I think that Marksman actually offers something that's a little bit more straightforward. You're doing straightforward burst DPS, you have to keep a debuff on the target, and you have an insane amount of control, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. But what we're going to do to go over this class and give my first impressions of it is that I want to actually talk about how the damage works, okay? And I want to talk about a couple things involving that damage and showing just how it works overall. But then I want to talk about the control because I think that the control is very, very good. And I want to demonstrate a little bit about that. And then I'm going to talk about a little bit about the mobility and the defensives. Okay, so there's a couple things. This is the spec that I'm playing right now. And this spec actually is not the best spec. I'm trying to get it to pop up in the middle of the screen. There we go. A lot of people seem to think that piercing shot and true aim is better than the lock and load and sidewinders spec, but I really enjoy this spec. I think that it provides a fluid gameplay. And I don't really have problems getting damage out. I actually top damage in pretty much every arena that I play with this spec, so that's why I'm keeping it. And that is the Sidewinder spec, which does replace your Arcane Shot and your multi-shot abilities for just this one Sidewinder's ability and applies Vulnerable, which I'll get to in a moment. And this ability also generates 55 focus and has 2 charges, which I feel like is very valuable since it has such a low recharge rate. Okay, so this is going to be your first ability that you're going to use in your damage rotation. Okay, and then I'm playing Lock and Load, which gives my range auto attacks an 8% chance to have the next couple aim shots basically free and instant cast, which is really, really valuable in my opinion. I'm playing Post Haste as opposed to Far Strider. Some people play Far Strider, but I think Post Haste, the speed, since it's 60% for 8 seconds, is really good since the disengage cooldown is only 20 seconds. And then I'm playing Patient Sniper, which is a really good passive. It basically means that instead of having to put up this 30-second debuff on the target whenever you make a target vulnerable and stack it up to 3 times, for actually, I think it's actually just less than this talent would generate anyways. I think that it's actually better to micromanage the vulnerable debuff as opposed to stacking it up and having it be this really long debuff. I think that this since it's reduced down to a 6-second window, which I'll explain a little bit more in depth. Actually, let's just go ahead and jump into it. Why not? I just think having that 6-second window is a lot more easy and practical in arena because of the reward that you get from the talent as opposed to doing the more PvE rotation type thing. So let's talk about the damage abilities in this spec. Okay, so there's 5 main damage abilities that I'm going to be just demonstrating today. The first one's going to be Sidewinders. So again, this is like your builder. This means that whenever you use it, you're going to generate a pretty high amount of focus, and you're also going to apply that vulnerable debuff. So let's talk about the vulnerable debuff. In the bottom right of your screen right now, you can see that tooltip. The second half of the tooltip is called vulnerable, and what that means is you're going to put a debuff on a target that increases the damage taken from mark shot and aim shot by 150%. And increases your aim shot critical strike chance. I think that's bugged. That tooltip is bugged, but I know that it does actually increase your crit chance. And since you have the talent, it only stacks up to 1 time, so it's really nothing big there. But basically what that means is I'm going to hit Sidewinders, and then you're going to see this vulnerable debuff right there. Okay, so but there is a catch to putting up those Sidewinders, is that this marking targets ability, it's like a passive. So basically it means that whenever you auto attack somebody, you're going to have a chance to gain this mark targets buff. And what you have to do is once you get that buff, let's see if we can get it to proc again. Maybe. it's the Hunter's Mark one. So your auto shots have a chance to apply that buff right there. Boom. Okay, so this means that my next Sidewinders is going to apply Hunter's Mark to the target, which is going to activate my Mark shot. So as you can see, if I use Sidewinders, I'm going to apply Vulnerable and Hunter's Mark, and that means that I can use my Mark shot ability until this buff runs out, which is really cool. So what you're going to do is you're really going to auto attack until you get that buff. You're going to Sidewinders, you're going to get that vulnerability up, then you're going to aim shot, and do a lot of damage with that. And then after that, you can actually like when that vulnerable first buff falls off, so when I hit Sidewinders and that vulnerable buff falls off, I can actually, like right now I can hit Mark shot, and then what it's going to do is it's going to actually apply vulnerable again, which increases the amount of damage you're going to get from those aim shots. So your whole goal is to like keep that vulnerable buff up, but also be efficient with your aim shots. So work on your aim shots in between that debuff. So you're going to get like 1 to 2 in between each vulnerable debuff, and then you have to like refresh it again and again and again, right? So obviously if I auto attack this guy, I get this buff right here. Like my damage would basically be Sidewinders. Well, I used Mark shot on accident, so that was actually wrong. But see how I can like work in these aim shots, and then see like I just get 2 aim shots, I can get a third one here, and then Mark shot before the buff ends, and then that's like really how Marksman does damage. The artifact ability is something that I want to talk about because this does a couple things that are kind of out of the rotation. One, it's a 20-second cooldown, which is really, really good. I think that's one of the best artifact talent or artifact abilities in the game because of how much damage it really does. It's like a stronger aim shot that gives you a 5-second movement speed buff in this like this like white wind tunnel thing. It doesn't look very good. I don't think the graphics are very good, but this actually gives you a 5-second movement speed buff, which can help you in like a utility standpoint from your team, which is really cool. And this is also out of the rotation because what's really cool is if you run out of Sidewinders, you run out of Mark shot, and you don't have that vulnerability buff, what you can do is actually cast this, and then bam, it applies vulnerable since you have the talent right here, or it's one of these talents. I can't remember which one it is. It's one of these artifact trait talents that actually apply, or this one right here, Mark of the Windrunners. So Windburst also applies Deadeye to the target, aka vulnerable, which is really good. So that's kind of how that works. And now I want to speak to the control of this class because this is a very control heavy class. What's really cool is that there's 4 different abilities that I can actually control with, control a target with, since I have this spec running right now in the PvP talents. I'm playing Freezing Arrow, which basically is kind of like an AoE polymorph. It's really cool. So you like cast down this, or you cast this Freezing Arrow, which can be interrupted, and then not only is the target that you freeze frozen, but it also within 6 yards of that target, all the targets are frozen as well. So it's like an AoE polymorph, which is really cool, and any damage that hits him will break the effect. All right, so you have this right here, which is on the incapacitate DR. It freezes them for 8 seconds. See. And then you have Binding Shot, which you can put this down, and if I can get him to walk out, see, like he gets stunned for, I think it's 4 seconds of that Binding Shot. Then we have Spider Sting, which is a silence that means that when he casts an offensive spell, after that Spider Sting is applied, then he will actually be silenced. And then you have the Bursting Shot, which you can walk up to a target or multiple targets and then just Bursting Shot them, which is kind of like Scatter Shot, and disorients them for 4 seconds. And all of these are on different DRs, so you can really do a lot with this control. And I think that Marksman is actually one of the most underrated in terms of how much control it really has. And I don't take Scatter Shot because I think Bursting Shot is really, really good already. And I think Freezing Arrow gives a lot of opportunity for comps like KFC to really thrive. So KFC, for people who don't know, is like Armswear, Marksman Hunter, or in this case, Marksman Hunter. Normally it's BM Hunter, but Marksman Hunter in this case, and then like a Resto Shaman, right? And I think that the control that Hunter offers, Marksman Hunter offers, with all of these 4 different abilities that are on different DRs, I think that the control available to Marksman Hunters is very, very valuable to a team comp like KFC, where warriors don't have a whole lot of CC but can put out a ton of damage. So I think if hunters can put out a ton of damage and also a lot of CC, similar to like frost mages in previous expansions, then you're going to see this class in particular take over and be very strong because of that. And I think that this class really does have a lot to offer. So the mobility of it, I think, is very strong too because of the disengage post haste, which is an 8-second speed buff, which not many classes have. Like this is as good as sprint, or almost as good as sprint. And then you have Aspect of the Cheetah, which is like a big burst mobility thing. For 3 seconds, you get 90% speed, and then 8 seconds of 30% speed, which is really good, or 9 seconds of 30% speed. So the one weakness of Marksman Hunters, in my opinion, are the defensives. I think if people train Marksman Hunters, they die very quickly. However, they do have Aspect of the Turtle, which it's kind of like deflection for 8 seconds, and you take 30% less damage. You know, nothing really crazy there, except for you don't get the healing like you do in Beast Mastery spec. So in Beast Mastery, you get this like passive max health heal, which is really good. And then you have Exhilaration, which heals for 50% of your maximum health on 2-minute cooldown. So you don't have a whole lot of defensive cooldowns, but you have enough to make it work. And I think that that's really cool, because this class overall just like thrives when it comes to being away from people, being far away from people, because of this mastery buff that allows you to get a bunch of range. Like I have a 43-yard range right now on this target, and I can shoot from really far away. Like I have to be this far away because of my mastery, which increases all of my abilities ranged. And I think that that's really cool. I think that this class really can thrive, and what we're going to do now is actually going to show you what it's like in a real PvP situation of what Marks Hunters like. I think that this class is really cool, and I want you guys to check it out in case you guys are thinking about maining it for Legion. So let's go ahead and jump into it.
can finally see. I'm feeling like love tonight. There's no stopping what I feel inside. So throw your cares away. 'Cause baby, I am here to stay. I'm feeling like love tonight. There's no stopping what I feel inside. So throw your cares away. 'Cause baby, I am here to stay. Floating away with you in the backseat of my car. We're timeless, sailing through, but tonight, no, we can't go far. And I know it cannot last, but at last I can finally breathe. And I know it cannot last, but at last I can finally see.
When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this too. When you want to get off the darkest ground.
Alright guys, that does sum it up for today. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. As always, show the support, and you can always subscribe to my channel if you haven't already to join the family. I guess this is kind of like a family now. We have a Discord, like we're chilling. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Cartoons out.